strategize together. Let's hear it from an expert. Join the conversation, it's informative and free. You and me, let's talk some strategy. Now here's your host, Morin-van.
Hello, everybody. I am your host, Morin-van. I am so glad you're with us again for another episode of Strategy Talks. And today I have a special guest all the way from Ohio, live with us here. But before I introduce her, I just want to welcome all of you who are here live. Thank you for being with us. You can always add comments and ask questions of our guests. Also want to do a shout out to those of you who might be watching this on the replay later on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you are. And then last but not least, a special shout out to those of you who listen to Strategy Talks as a podcast. I want to welcome you and thank you for being with us today. So a special shout out to our sponsor, Social Insider. They are the intuitive dashboard for social media analytics, reporting, and competitors analysis for brands and agencies. So if you need data, you need Social Insider. And we've got a new sponsor. I don't have any graphics yet or anything else, but I want to do a quick shout out to StreamYard. I've been using StreamYard for many years, and they have come on board as a sponsor for for Strategy Talks. And I just want to do a shout out. Thank you so much for seeing the worth of Strategy Talks and being our sponsor. So thank you. So now, without much further ado, I want to go ahead and bring in my guest, who is Jessika Phillips. Hey, Jessika.
Hey, how's it going?
It is fantastic. I'm so excited. I see that Joe is here. He's watching from Ohio, so that's wonderful. That's great. So for those of you who don't know the Jessika Phillips, let me introduce you to her. She's known as the queen of relationship marketing. She is on a mission to redefine corporate America and create something she wanted to be a part of, right? Jessika founded Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision to give people with heart an upper hand. Now Marketing Group was recognized as an Inc. Best Place to Work in 2022, only 12 years later, and is a Forbes recognized agency partner with Facebook, Google, and a certified inbound partner with HubSpot. Wow. Now Marketing Group works with more than 100 clients across the United States and beyond, choosing to serve, not sell. Jessika lives by a personal mission of helping inspire people to love more, give more, and be more through authentic, relating, and providing, doing what's right, not what's easy, and that can turn a vision into a profitable agency that produces results. Jessika, I've seen real life how you outcare the competition. I've been at Social Media Week Lima twice as a speaker. And let me just tell you, for those of you watching, and Troy, you're in Ohio, you need to come to Social Media Week Lima next year. You outcare everybody else, how you treat your speakers, how you treat your attendees, how you treat your sponsors. Jessika, let's start with that.
Thank you. And you rocked the house, let's just say, with teaching agile marketing and how you show up. You brought the house down. It was great.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about outcaring the competition. And you were sharing in the green room that CARE is an acronym. Let's just start with that. What does that mean?
Yeah, so CARE is an acronym. First of all, we all know what CARE means at its core, but how it breaks down into business practice and something that's going to be easy to remember is CARE stands for how to capture attention, how to articulate our message, how to build repeat referral business, and exceptional experiences. I believe those are the core elements that it takes to truly grow our business, but really thinking of starting from kind of the inside out on how we're making people feel and how we're showing up in order to achieve those things that will grow our business organically and sustainably over time.
That's awesome. I love that. And that inside out approach, start with talking to the current clients that you have and making sure that they're well cared for, correct? And then asking them for referrals?
Yeah, well, you shouldn't even have to ask. Honestly, yes, can we ask? Yes, absolutely. But starting from the inside out, it even starts sometimes before that. I think it really takes getting to our North Star of why are we in business in the first place? And not about making things about what we do, but how we do it, why we do it, what we're in business to do. It's not about the product or getting people to buy from us. It's about how do we create this sense of belonging with us. So starting from the inside out is first, that first layer and that core is who are we as a brand? How do we want to make people feel? And what is our overall declaration of why we're showing up every single day and why others should care about that? So, having this brand manifesto declaration of here's what we're here to do, then focusing on how are we showing up and who are we doing it for? So, knowing who you're in business for, right? Not only your customers, but also your team members. I like to say it's kind of thinking about how am I going to turn our followers into our biggest fans? So people that may not even buy from you, but they're still showing up because they align with your beliefs and how you make them feel and how you're empowering them. How are we turning our clients into our biggest advocates and doing a lot more than what we just a business transaction, right? Like that's nothing special. That's just exchanging dollars for a service or a product. But what are we doing to enhance their lives in a meaningful way? And I like to say, love more, give more, be more. Like, how are we showing up in that way? And then how are we turning our community into collaborators? Like, what is going to be that shift there? And our team members into our biggest evangelists. When we can think of taking that extra step and adding that heart into it without being so woo woo about it. I kind of am woo woo, but how do you or how are you taking it to the next level? Because if we start there, that is, I believe, what shifts like the traditional sales funnel to a marketing flywheel, and that's that powerful burst of energy that's going to help you grow sustainably. So yes, will and can you ask your clients to refer you? Absolutely. But honestly, if they feel it and they're having this moment of, wow, like you really surprised me in how you're showing up. You've solved this problem for me. And I can tell that you care about what you're doing. They're going to refer you and say your name and suggest you to others organically, naturally along the way.
I absolutely love this. And I have found this to be true. I mean, I've been in business for 10 years, not quite as long as you. I have not built a team yet. I'm working on it, but I truly feel what you just said about loving them more and giving more. One of the things in agile marketing we talk about is spending more time with clients, not less,
Mhm. Yep.
more. And one of the values of agile is, um, scope of it's what you contracts no team collab and customer care is more important
Mhm.
than scope of work or contracts, right?
Yes.
So that doesn't mean you go
Mhm.
outside of contract all the time or outside of scope of work,
Mhm.
but it does mean that if you need or that client needs a little bit extra hand holding or they need a little bit of extra care, you give that.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
give that without question, without, and you give your team, which is where you're going with this, I'm sure. Give your team
Mhm.
permission to spend that extra 15 minutes explaining something or having that extra meeting with them. So I love that. And let me just say this, I think this is like the elephant in the room. But within digital marketing and within social media marketing and within our industry, this is not the standard yet.
No, it's starting to be talked about a lot more because you have to. 90% of all buying decisions are starting online, and people are basing the decision on if they're working with one company or another based upon what they're seeing and perceiving is the sentiment of what it would be like to work with that company and what other people are saying. They're asking questions. We've all seen this on Facebook where people are like, "Hey, who can you suggest for this?" Or on Amazon where we're looking at people giving reviews. We've seen this with restaurants and hotels and those kinds of things before, but now it's with everything. There are reviews out there, people are talking, and even the search engines are ranking on sentiment. The social media sites are ranking on engagement and people that are coming to these channels and referring people on more often. This is your visibility, one, but two, and this can go both ways, visibility good or bad, but
Right.
two, you can't fake it. You can't buy community. You cannot, pay for people to just give you a false review. People are going to know what it's like to work with you, and they're going to get that perception regardless. So you have to care in order to grow your business. You have to show up in a way that's authentic, and that you're showing up consistently with clarity and conviction in what it is that you're doing. And unless it starts from the inside out, like I know you say you don't have a team yet, but you kind of do. You already have this community built in that is referring you on. I've seen you speak all over the place, and people referring you, they're mentioning your name, you're showing up in lists and things for how you show up, because people know what it's like to work with you, right? So unless people get this right, nobody else is going to care to refer you on or to work with you, stay working with you, whether you have a team or clients or whatever. We've seen this with the great resignation, with team members leaving companies, with 2020 that happened, and that's not changed. Like, people are still that way. They're like, I would rather work for myself because I can, or a company that's going to care for me, instead of just showing up at a place. And clients are the same way, customers are the same way. There's so many options out there. There's no reason for them to stay with something that they're not happy with. But reverse is true. They'll give you grace and understanding if they know that you are showing up in a way, like you said, it's not just about the scope, it's about how you can help someone in a genuine way. And caring is taking that extra 15 minutes, like you said, and a team member will do that. And knowing that they have permission to do that with a customer in order to help them solve a problem, because nothing is black and white. Sometimes, especially as it relates to marketing, there's always going to be unique situations that come up. There's always going to be things that are going to be, fall in that area where it's like you have to just be able to be human and put your human hat on and say it goes beyond just a proposal or
right. And that's kind of where I was going with that. There is, right ways and wrong ways how to run, an agency, for sure. One of the things that I get asked, what are your packages? I don't see them on your website. And I'm like, because I don't know what you need. I don't want to sell you something in a package that you might not need. You might not have any social media. Why would I say you need an audit? Or, why would I put you on this platform if clearly your competition is on there and not getting any traction? So, for me, it starts with a strategy and a very personalized package. And it sounds like you have that same approach. And that's where I think the caring is differentiating us, and you especially, from where others are, where you give them exactly what they need, not what they think they need, not what they might want, but this is how you're going to grow. And that people really appreciate that. And I really starts with that diving deep into what does each client need.
Yeah, I would run far and fast away from somebody that is just going to suggest something without having a conversation to you, with you for marketing, especially, or a website or anything else. I know all of us want an easy button. We all have so much on our plate to do, but you really do have to take the time in the front end to build a good foundation for anything that you're doing within your business. So if you are hiring a marketing team, or anyone, to provide services for your business, it starts with a deep and thorough conversation of exactly what you said. Who are your competition right now? What are your big goals? What are you ultimately, for what purpose are you wanting to even show up and do the thing that you're talking about? And really having a conversation of where a brand is at today and what their big goals are, and kind of where they're seeing the gaps. That conversation needs to happen before a package or a service is even suggested. So if somebody's just pushing out, hey, here's a package for you to buy, I've seen this a lot in online. I'm sure anybody else that works in social media can say this as well, which I think that's a majority of your community. I see Jen in the comments. Hey, Jen and Joe and George, which I know are all in this community. But I've seen it a lot online where people are saying, hey, for this flat rate, we're going to just manage your social. And they give out bulk social media content that is the same content that is distributed on all their customer channels. And it's maybe funny or whatever, memes and things like that, but it's not helping grow your business because it's not personalized to you. or your customer and starting a conversation. Social media, we've all heard this said before, but it's meant to be social, to have conversation, to build rapport, to allow people to get to know what it's like to work with you and you to be able to serve customers a lot faster. So blanket services don't work.
They don't work. And I love that you said that about content, because here I'm just going to
Mhm.
ask you, and this is non-scripted, but Jessika, how far in
Yeah.
advance does your team work on content? Like,
Yeah.
for example, if you have a new client and obviously you work with a strategy and you're going to put content out, how
Mhm.
quickly do you analyze that content? Is it 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and go back to the client and go, this
Yeah.
works, this doesn't, audience responding to this? What is that
Yeah.
time frame like for
Yeah,
you?
so it does depend on some clients, because like if they're in real estate, for example, or one that is works with selling products and things that change a lot, it depends on that. But so first, our process starts with the discovery. We get to know them, the heartbeat of their business, who their ideal personas are, and what their ultimate goal is. Like as far as conversions, are they looking for opt-ins? Are they looking for phone calls, store visits, whatever? Then from there, we can plan out the content 30 days for most clients in advance, where there's still gaps for real time content that's in there though. Like we want real people doing real things in real time. That always is the best. But we also want to plan ahead for there's anniversaries to celebrate, maybe of your team. There are call to actions. There's events that you're doing. There are, things that are happening that are evergreen uses for, or
Right.
for opt-ins that you can plan out, and it does serve you well to do so, especially in the content that is working. And then we always analyze that after the month ends to compare the 30 days compared to the year before or the month before, depending on that industry. But it also gives us time to plan real-time content. So yes, things happen spontaneously and we want to capture that. And we're really working with our clients to train them on how to think in that way of capturing,
Mhm.
those spontaneous moments that are great to show up, especially as stories and reels and that kind of thing is
Sure.
growing. Um, but some of it you plan for the live stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know that you're getting a shipment of your new book that's coming out, and you're getting it on Wednesday. Okay, let's plan for that, right? Like
Mhm.
a new team member starting, whatever. Let's plan for that. But we will map it out for them, design it, schedule it, and we use what's called the post framework. I'm a fan of acronyms. So with every post, we ask ourselves, one, is it personalized to who we're trying to talk to? Is it open-ended? So B, personalized. O, open-ended. S, style. So does it feel like that client only? If we would put it on anybody else, it's going to feel awkward, right? We want it to have its own style, tone, everything with that client. And the T is for timely. Like, is it representation of what's going on today and what everyone else is feeling? And if something comes up, like we had where the Queen had passed away, and everybody stopped a lot of their content and ads during that time, because you want to not feel tone deaf in your brand on what's going on.
Right.
So that post framework is used. We schedule it out, send it to the client for the review, and then monitor what's happening. And they're always agile.
Right. It's always shifts and
Yeah.
little movements. And I know that you use the same tool that I use, Agora Pulse, and I love that. And I have my clients in the
Mhm.
account with me where I'm like, look, if you want to post something spontaneous or something is happening in your business, all you need to do is just drag it to tomorrow. Whatever is
Mhm.
scheduled for today, you have my
Yep.
permission to be in there. This is your content. This is
Mhm.
your social media. I want to partner
Yep.
with them, but I don't want to take over and I don't want to be there
Mhm.
teacher and say this is the only way, or their I don't know what even, or their boss and say you can't post. So I just teach them how
Absolutely.
to just move it over and say, and then
Mhm.
guide them and say, like
Yep.
that's a great post. Next time, make sure you tag somebody, or let's go in and tag somebody, or
Huh?
but I want them to have that ownership. And the other thing that I know that you do, if there was ever a client that wanted to part ways, you set them up for success. And I know I
Mhm.
do this. I know
Yep.
you do that. If there was ever a time that a client was like, well, we need to part ways, or, we can't afford services, or we're shifting, I want
Mhm.
them to own all their stuff. I want them to
Oh,
understand
100%.
how everything works. And that's the other part about that. A lot of our
Mhm.
competitors, almost feels like they hold
They
people
block the
hostage.
exit. Yeah.
They block the exit. Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
good way to say it. So I don't
Yeah.
want that. Hey, I just look at my time. We are like at 20 minutes, which is crazy because I could talk to you for another hour. But I've got really 3 really quick fire questions, rapid
Yeah.
fire questions. So Jessika, video meeting or in-person meeting?
Ooh. Oh gosh, it's hard. I love in person, of course,
Okay.
but I have to go both because then I could hang out with you right now.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I love it. Raise or bonus? And I know you have a team. So if you don't want to answer, it's okay. But raise
Raise
or
or
bonus, what would
bonus?
you want?
What would I want? Probably a raise, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Group feedback or one-on-one feedback?
Oh, both. Oh, all these are like both.
I
Um,
know. I know. These are
I
hard. I like mix them up, but
yeah,
everybody gets one of these questions at the end.
I love doing one-on-ones and then doing the group at the end,
Right, because everybody
but
learns from each
uh-huh.
other, right?
Yep,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
awesome. All right, Jessika, you've been wonderful. I will not be back next week with Strategy Talks. For those of you watching live, I'll be in Suriname, which is a country in South America, and I'll be presenting at Social Media Conference Suriname. I know one of our watchers today is in Suriname. I don't think she'd ever watch my show. So, Consuela, I'm so excited you were here and watching the show, and I can't wait to be there in person next week. So I'm taking a 1-week break. But Jessika, how can people connect with you if they want to know more about your team, about Now Marketing, about your approach to social media, which I absolutely love?
Yeah, feel free to go to jessikaphillips.com. Any of the social media channels that you are most active on, you can find me there and connect with me on the one that you prefer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you
Thank
to
you.
those of you who are live. Thank you to those who watch on the replay. And again, special shout out to those who will be listening to this as a podcast, and really appreciate you being out here. There was so much good stuff in here. I cannot wait to re-listen to this, Jessika. I appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll see you soon.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.